To get started, we have a lot more to cover, so I would ask everyone if you would kindly take your seats, visit the washroom if you need to one last time, and let's get ready to welcome our next guest. We'll be talking about investments. So thank you.
She's she's my daughter. Ah, thank you. Nice to see you. Great work. Great work. Aisha, everyone, it's not working.
Hello?
Yeah. Everyone, please go back to the hall. Everyone, please. Please. We have speakers waiting for you. Yeah.
Everyone, please go to the hall. Hello? Hello? Hello. Everyone, please go to the main hall. Everyone, please go to the main hall. We have a fundraising session happening right now. Hello. Everyone, please go to the main hall. The speakers are waiting on you.
Hi.
Everyone, the speakers are not going to start without you. We need you in the main hall.
Okay, I think we're just going to get started, and hopefully everybody will start to trickle in.
Everyone, please go to the main hall.
So did everybody enjoy that amazing lunch? Yeah. Yes, me too. You know, I really, really enjoyed the pasta. It was so good. But it's really easy right now to start to fall asleep after that heavy lunch and half a day of listening to some speakers. But try your best to please stay with us, because honestly, the second half of this afternoon is going to be just as great as the first half. So keep taking your notes, keep connecting with people, listening and asking your questions. So we're going to go on to the next round. But before I introduce the next speaker again, I just wanted to give out a heartfelt thank you again to our sponsors for this event today. We'd like to thank Export Development Canada, Deloitte Canada, Foresight Canada, CoLab, and Blackstone Steakhouse. Thank you. Okay, so the speaker next is going to be Miriam Lazarte. Uh, and this session is going to be moderated by Zavosh Zabolian. And they're going to be talking about funding and the funding playbook. They're talking about turning investment into sustainable growth and opportunity. Miriam is a founder and CEO of Global Startups Accelerator, formerly LatAm Startups, a leading Toronto-based accelerator that helps international tech companies, particularly those from emerging markets, scale into North America. And Zavosh is a visionary leader in tech and venture capital. He has mentored over 500 startups to achieve success. He is an award-winning entrepreneur known for blending strategic vision with a grounded human approach to leadership. So this sounds like a very loaded topic. Let's go. So Miriam and Zavosh.
How's everyone doing? Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the lunch. And yeah, I'm very honored to be here and share the stage with Miriam from Global Startups. I have some questions. We're going to have a fireside chat, and maybe if there's time, we'll take a couple questions from the audience. So maybe to start, you mind sharing what the business model of venture capital or investors in general look like, so it could help drive the rest of our conversation?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for the invitation. It's an honor to be here. Very close to this community, admire all what the Mina is doing here. And amazing to be sharing this panel discussion with you too. We were just chatting about this because we just have like 30 minutes, I think, chatting
Yeah,
about
that was
this.
great.
But I think in regards of business model, of course, all venture capital, angel investors, anyone that is in investment is looking for return of investment, and partially of that is defining a lot of things around for you, as a investor, venture capital, whatever you want to become in the ecosystem. And whatever, I think it tends to be a lot around the thesis that you have for investment. Whether you're going to be tapping into early stage startups, seed startups, maybe you're tapping into, just fintech and that's it. Or maybe you're a little bit more abroad, but you have, people around helping you to figure out that. Also helping, to figure out the size of the fund and when do you want to have your return of investment, right? In venture capital, we know there is a standard 10 years when you have, a fund open. And then during those 10 years, you're expecting about the fifth year, some of the first return of investment, and 6 years, 7 year will continue be return of investment. And then you push, companies to exit in years 7 to 10, right? But knowing the size of the fund, knowing the type of investment, knowing the type of checks that you are going to give, if you are too broad with that, your business model also goes a little bit off the rails.
Absolutely. So you mean they're not a charity, basically?
Basically,
Okay.
there is
That's
a
good to
return of
know.
investment always. And this is the other thing we were discussing, how much of return of investment, and
Right.
in particular in our fund, we are talking about 5x to 7x as a return of investment, but this is probably lower the standards in the market because normally venture capital is expecting 15x, 20x, 25x, 50x, right? That I think in regular business doesn't happen as
Absolutely.
optimistic as people are thinking.
Yeah, I think also between US and Canada, we're more conservative, so maybe more realistic with some of the ROIs versus American VCs. But so from your experience, what do you think is one of the biggest challenges facing immigrant entrepreneurs or founders when it comes to fundraising?
I think immigrant entrepreneurs in general will face the same challenges as the rest of mortals, unfortunately. It's the same, guys. It's the same for everyone. There is an extra challenge for every single segment that you are going to see in the market. Whether you're a woman entrepreneur, you may think you have some challenges, and there are some challenges, there are some truths behind. For immigrants in particular, I think partially comes from mentality. Many times it's kind of like, okay, I have an accent, maybe people are going to judge me, they are going to know that I'm not from here, and they are going to tell me no because I'm not from here. I've been 16 years in this country, I still have this accent, I don't think that I can read off of this. So also, kind of like when many of our startups that are immigrants too, they pitch and they talk a lot about what they do at home. Not that much what they are doing here.
That's
and,
right.
it's perceived as you are not here, you are out there, right? And nobody, I haven't seen the first investor asking, where are you from? Per se for a bad, kind of like a bad scenario there. Many times they are curious about where are you from, more because they want to know about the culture, but not because of the business per se. You may face also certain questions that you may know, like what happens if you return to your country and you don't return my money? That's a regular question we get all the time. uh, the only thing that I can say is that you have to be prepared to answer those questions and mitigate risk for the investor and for yourself, right? You want to continue raising funds in the future. So this is all about mitigating risk.
Thank you. Yeah, great. What's a common mistake that you see founders make when it comes to pitching for fundraising?
Uh, Pitching, the first mistake I see is that founders are pitching any investor because of the title of investor. And really, you have to match with an investor. You have to match with the thesis. You have to match with the round, right? If the investor is like, let's say it's an angel investors are champions for pre-seed. They tend to be there no matter what. They are going to give a small check, so they tend to be agnostic. They also tend not to do that much of due diligence, which is good and bad. Can talk more about that.
Sure.
But once you know venture capital, and you are going to need eventually venture capital, because once you enter an investment, this is a rabbit hole. You have to exit at some point. And you enter there, you are going to need venture capital, so you need to know the other side, the investor. This is a pre-seed investor. I'm raising pre-seed. If I'm talking with a Series A investor, the Series A investor is not going to invest on you if you are pre-seed, because that person is already in Series A. They are not interested in the pre-seed. They're interested in knowing you for future rounds, but not right now, right? Somebody that is an investor in fintech is not going to invest in clean tech, for example.
Absolutely.
Somebody that is in the US may invest on you, but I have to say many times investment happen locally because tax and legal regulations. So you have to also think about that. Many people think, oh, I'm going to the US and get my check there. Maybe how you're going to complete the round, how are you going to get the next round? Most investors like proximity because of that.
Thank you for those insights. Yeah, I think preparation is key when pitching, for sure. I've seen a lot of founders pitch, or even in my journey earlier on. The more you spend time preparing ahead of time and knowing who you're meeting and your audience, and you can cater your pitch to them, and not just, especially at events, I've seen a lot of people just walk up to someone who has an investor badge and start pitching them. First ask, see if they're ready to hear your pitch, and then you go through many rounds of pitching. There's different types of pitching, so we don't have time to get into that. But I was wondering, if someone doesn't have a network in Canada, how do they build that, or what are some suggestions for newcomers?
In particular for funding, I would say one of the biggest pains of investors, whether this is an angel investor or is a venture capital, is pipeline. Investors normally lack pipeline. That means that they need to meet as many companies as possible, so they go dating all the events that they can, right? So they can meet people and they can add people to the pipeline. So one of the biggest things that I will recommend to everyone is just go to events, start meeting people, ask them if it's an investor and it's something that, first of all, don't pitch, because you pitch, you are going, is what people say, you ask for money, you get an advice, you ask for an advice, you get money, So start asking for an advice, right? And how the investor also can help you. And once you get, that first conversation, get in the email, put it in the newsletter, so you can update the investor every month, in how your company is doing. If you have a newsletter with 50, 60 investors that are maybe your match, I can tell you that by the time that you are ready, you will have more a likelihood that somebody is going to fund you faster in a pre-seed round.
I couldn't agree more, because one of the things I've seen maybe top 2% of founders do a really good job at is communication. And when someone gives 5 minutes of their time sharing advice, only that 2% actually reply and say thank you, and then maybe come back a month later and say, hey, we did this, it worked or it didn't work, and why, and can I keep you posted? And then build rapport. That's an authentic approach to building trust, building relationship, and then maybe you let them know 6 months later you're planning to open your next round, so they can keep you in the radar, not show up today and say, I'm raising money, right? Yeah. So I think, the communication also really helps. Now, how important do you think is warm introductions versus cold outreach, and how should people approach both?
Way better warm introductions, for sure, than cold outreach. So the question here comes in where I get those introductions. When? First, you're part of a community here with Temina, right? Temina knows some investors, right? Yeah, she knows some investors. Now, just to be fair, I'm throwing Temina under the bus here, but just to be fair, like when we do introductions to investors, we are also putting our name back on you. So if you are not ready, or if you're part of the Mina network, maybe she's not going to do the introduction just yet, right? Because otherwise, the investor will say, Tamina, why are you sending me here? Like, don't send me this type of startups that are not prepared. So the warm introductions happen when you're a part of this type of communities, part of an accelerator, part of an incubator, and then you have the opportunity to showcase, the startups to some investors. For example, here I do have two hats. I have an accelerator, I have a venture capital firm. We have an investment readiness program. By the time that people finish, we do a demo, same as many other accelerators and incubator. And there are many investors that come, and then we do the introduction, but we know we have prepared the startup before we are making the introduction. So I'm against the speed dating with investors that sometimes happen in in events, because many times the startups are just signing up, the investors do, and they just don't click because both sides are not prepared.
That's a great point. Yeah, absolutely. I think you touched on that. I would like to emphasize it, the reputation. Some investors, they spend years building their reputation. So if they're going to be willing to introduce someone to someone that they know, it's good to be respectful, maybe ask them for some background info, ask them how best they should handle that relationship, because if they're tied to it, you would either make a good impression or that's the last introduction they'll make. So what signals or proof would investors look for if someone's new in a local ecosystem?
From the startup perspective or the investor perspective?
From the investor perspective, I think it would help clarify what are investors looking for as signals or proof points beyond traction?
Yeah. Well, depends what type, again, of investor you are looking for, right? Angels tend to be the easiest one. They say the signal for them is, I love the team, I love, the CEO, and I'm really passionate about what they are building. And for good or for bad, they don't do that much of due diligence, right? I always said to the investors that come to our training sessions, startups normally get funding from 3F, right? You know the 3F? Who knows the 3F? Yeah, family, friends, and fools. So I always said to investors, don't be that they're F, right? That's a good thing for the startup. At the end of the day, you need to complete the round. But that's for the angels, right? They are very passionate about the team. They are very, very passionate about the product. And they tend to do less due diligence, but they are passionate about that. If it's a venture capital, depending on the venture capital, they are going to go deep on data. Like, historical sales, let me see competitors, let me see, how you're doing against these other companies, whether your company is already or similar companies in my portfolio or not, right? Things like that. Like venture capital tend to be a little bit more complex. And then we have family offices. And family offices also invest time to time in technology. They have a percentage sometimes to invest in technologies.
Do you also exchange notes? Do you compare your notes of when doing due diligence with other investors or co-invest?
We do. In our community in particular, we tend to think, and this comes from the accelerator perspective. When we funded the accelerator, we wanted to work with other accelerators and other incubators because we don't see them as competitors. We see them as colleagues that can complement the work that we are doing, complete the work that we are doing. Having said that, when a company comes and is raising, it needs a village to raise that company. So if you are just protecting your investment and not sharing with the other investors, they need to, they probably can give a check, but you have to share some
That's
data,
true.
right? So we are welcome angel investors, family offices, other venture capitals into our community, even if they are pre-seed, because they just can complete the rounds that we are expecting on our side. They also can help us, with their own portfolio. Maybe some of the merchant acquisitions can happen between portfolios, right? Or secondary
Absolutely.
sales.
That's really great to hear how the ecosystem works together on the venture side. Now, I'll share this from a founder point of view because to fill the gap, often founders are scared. They think, oh, why do I need to raise venture capital? Or investors are out to get a piece of my company. I'm sure you've heard those, right? Do you have any thoughts around how they could navigate that or get out of that mindset so that they can?
Yeah, you don't have to raise funds. you, you can be still a millionaire without an investor behind you, okay? You still can build a company. I said to global startups in our accelerator, majority of the companies, we have worked with 300 startups. I will say about 70% of them are not investable, are not.
Wow,
And it's
70%.
yeah, and it's totally okay. It's better for you to know that you are not investable, and maybe but you still can be a millionaire, right? It's like you can have a business that is good enough without investors. But if you do need an investor, and you are planning to raise funds in the future, you need to enter into the game. And the game has some rules. You have to play with the rules.
That's really important. It ties back to what we started our conversation with, which was what they look for. So I guess by not investable, you mean they can't meet that 5x or 7x from just looking at their business model, right?
Yeah, for business model, for venture capital, if you are doing 2x or 3x, especially first fund, second fund, it's almost a failure for that fund. Like an investor that had put money on that fund is not going to give money for a second fund.
That's right.
and,
Yeah.
and a manager is looking forward to have a second fund and third fund, because in particular, somebody like me that has a fund of $2.5 million is still raising, it's like I may not have my second fund if I don't do well with this one. So I'm looking for that 5x to have my second fund. In my second fund, I may make money.
And
In
you're
the
also
first
looking
money,
to perform well
yeah,
with your
exactly.
fund.
Continue
Right.
performing well. So 3x, 2x is not that bad, but if you are looking, for example, for investors that are in like financial portfolios or real estate,
Right.
sometimes they can get very good returns with low risk. So for somebody that is entering tech, they really have to have something that is going to return a good return for the investor that is entering into the game.
That makes sense. Now, next question. Also, I see this a lot from founders, first time maybe raising. They wonder, how much do you think is the right amount to ask for in the early stages? Should immigrant founders aim lower and prove themselves, or should they go big off the bat?
I always mention this to our startups. When you raise your first round, your first round. See, this is my immigrant side.
Oh, you're doing great.
So your first round, you're kind of getting into somebody's giving you first time money, right? So like when you go to a bank, you try to get a credit card, how much they gave you? $500? 2,000, you were lucky. I got 500 the first time. So being said that, it's because people are not going to trust you that amount of money at the beginning, without any track record that you have raised in the past. So just start your round with something that is, achievable. Particular, most of pre-seed, they start with 500K, okay? I cannot tell this is going to go through the spectrum because we
Sure.
have medical devices, technologies, clean
Right.
tech that they require way more in the first round. But starting up, you need to start kind of being humble and demonstrating that you have the skills to provide a good return of investment and get your next round.
And would you say for that 500, how much they have to give up? About 10 to 20%?
That's the other thing. You don't have to give up anything at the beginning because because you have equity, you have safe, you have convertible notes. You may want to negotiate future terms,
There you
right?
go.
Which
Take
is
notes.
which is something that you don't have to, crack your head right now about how much equity
You don't need
we're going to
evaluation
get.
to start with. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's great. So to switch things up a little bit, talking about structuring the raise, um, how do you think investors evaluate cross-border traction when it comes to someone's home country, if they have customers back home? Do you think it hurts or it helps the deal?
It depends how the company is structured. If you have your company structure with headquarters in Canada owning, for example, your company in Pakistan, India, or some other place, it may have a case where the investor is like, okay, I'm investing in Canada, I'm investing in Ontario. I don't have to mobilize necessary money to another place, right? Because the risk you have to put in the shoes of the investor sometimes, comes into mitigation, in litigation.
Right.
What happened is something, we get into a disagreement. I'm going to go and sue you in Dubai. Like, no, right? Especially if it's a small amount. So the risk of all this for investors is like proximity gives me the law for me to manage this business, right? And tax-wise is also kind of one thing, right? What if I do the investment in this other country and then, what if I have to pay like an ridiculous amount of taxes because of that?
Yeah.
So that's why, many people have Delaware or they have Ontario. Ontario, believe it or not, has very similar rules. You still have to catch up, but it's similar. But that's why you have certain jurisdictions where you can actually tap into international waters. But if you have the two combination of a company here, with jurisdiction here, it will mitigate the risk.
Oh, thanks for bringing that up, because tax planning is a whole nother area we won't get into today, but look for it if you're planning to do cross-border business, because you don't want to end up owing or paying more than what you can afford. But also, sometimes I think investors, in the early stages, they don't want complicated structures, right? Because at least you have to be honest to them. Like if you're raising money in Canada, don't take all of that money out of Canada unless they know and they've agreed. There's a lot of those things, so you prevent lawsuits. But do you think when it comes to pitching in similar situations, the founders should have different pitches for, let's say, US or different jurisdictions, or one good solid pitch could take them through?
In my experience, never has been one solid pitch. Like, whatever deck you have, somebody is going to have feedback. I guarantee you, because all about about investment is negotiation. And having said that, Canadian investors, even Ontario investors, have a different way to negotiate than British Columbia investors or Silicon Valley investors or investors in Texas, right? Like, you can expect Americans are going to be blunt, like they are not going to have any sugar cake on anything. For Canadians, you may find that many Canadian investors are more like passive aggressive in response, right? You have to prepare your pitch knowing who you're pitching to and knowing whether you have good chances to continue working it. And one piece of advice there, whatever you have in your pitch, make sure you can demonstrate that into the due diligence. Because when you have like your financial projections, and then the investor kind of come and sit down with you and actually see it, and it doesn't match with what your pitch, then is when things go south. I had an investor in the U.S. that sometimes told us, when I see that, I have to think either the person is a liar or is an incompetent. So do I put money in a liar or an incompetent? Right? It may be not that black and white, and people don't say it here up and loud, but that's what they are going to think.
That's really powerful. I think I usually talk about it too from storytelling narrative. Like if you have a deck, you tell a story of the product, you tell a story of the team, and then you tell the story of the finances, and they need to all line up. And often, I've had one CEO, I remember when we started doing due diligence and asked him about his financials, he was like, oh, I didn't put that together, and my CFO did it, which is another red flag. As a CEO, you should know what you're presenting, even if you're not the most technical or the finance expert. So yeah, I think that's really important. Any questions from the audience before I continue? You can think about it, and we'll come back. Let me see.
Is that a question? Who has a question? Yeah.
You'd have to yell. More what, sorry? Warm intros without connections. How do you get warm intros without
You
connections?
need connections.
You make connections.
I mean, you don't need to connect with investors right away. Again, you can go sideways. You can go to these events and start connecting, with people that are connected with investors or with investors in those events. So to me, the first line of entering connections when you don't have connections is actually go to this type of events, right? There are many events in the city. If you see tech events, you see how many tech events in the city? Like 6 to 7 per day sometimes, right? And many times you are going to see investors kind of popping up here and there again because many of them, the problem is pipeline. They don't have pipeline.
Thank you. Yeah, any other questions? We might have time for one more question. If not, I'll just ask, if you were to share an advice that in our audience, they could take it away and implement it today, one piece of fundraising advice, what would it be?
I think I'm going to double down that you don't need to be investable, okay? So just understanding that, the complex of your company may not be for an investment path. Realize that early on will save you a lot of pain and suffering and frustration for both sides, investor and startup. So yeah, get prepared early. There are many programs outside for both investors and startups. If you are thinking about investing, there are programs for that, so it kind of help you to prepare. If you are thinking in getting investment, get prepared for that. It's a whole of other world. You need the CEO to be focused on that and the team focused in the operations, by the way. So if you really need a piece of advice or where to connect, just come to Marceli or me. We are here, and we are happy to guide through that.
Thank you so much. I would just say, if I give you one advice, would be change the way you feel about rejections. Feel good about getting rejected, because it brings a lot of data and feedback, and if you try to become a better listener, the rejections lead you to the yeses over time. So like any sales pipeline. But yeah, thank you so much. This was fun.
You.
Thanks, everyone.
Just wanted to, recap a couple of things that Miriam mentioned and what it made me think about. She said that prepare for your pitch. That was one of the things. And the other thing that I found was really interesting is her advice on if you ask for money, you will get advice. But if you ask for advice, you'll get money. And having a warm intro by somebody who has already built their reputation will take you further. Kind of got me thinking that it's a lot like the angel investor and the founder relationship is a lot like a parent and child relationship. You got to prepare before you go to your mom or dad and say, may I please do this? And if you're on your best behavior and you do what they tell you to, then they will give you what you asked for. So let's simplify it a little bit. But thank you, Miriam. That was really, really fun. You brought some humor into it, and I appreciated that. Thank you. Okay, so next. Do you know what it takes to do business with the government? So, and I think a lot of people want to know that information. And our next guest speaker is from Procurement Canada. They're going to talk about federal opportunities. Selling to the government is not as difficult as often businesses think. So let's hear from them as to why they say that. And we will learn how to take steps towards becoming a supplier for the government and to find opportunities suited to your business. So presenting for Procurement Canada is Imanzi Kayatari. He's a specialist in economic development supporting small businesses. And Prathiban, bear with me here, his name is a long one. I think it has all 26 characters in it. Dakshnamurthy, a procurement team leader and supply chain professional. So let's welcome them up here and let's hear from them what they have to say. Is Imanzi joining you?
And thank you so much for pronouncing my name right. And it's a tough last name. Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. I was listening to all the sessions. Definitely interesting, and it's a good segue for our session, which is about doing business with the Government of Canada. My name is Parthiban Dakshinamurthy. I'm a procurement team leader with PAC, Procurement Assistance Canada. So throughout this presentation, you will understand what our office is all about and what are the services we provide and what are the opportunities with respect to doing business with the Government of Canada. So Procurement Assistance Canada, so where myself and Imanzi are coming from, it is a part of PSPC to support smaller and diverse businesses in the federal procurement process. Our role is mainly to engage with businesses to assist and inform them of how to do business with the Government of Canada. We also look for opportunities to increase the partnership of diverse businesses in the federal procurement process. As a part of this, we do this by engaging with diverse communities, listening to concerns and questions, and most importantly, helping businesses identify the right opportunities for them. So that is our prime objective. And we also have another major pillar, which is understanding the barriers of doing business with the Government of Canada. So we hear the barriers and we take it forward. Public Service and Procurement Canada, PSPC. So throughout our presentation, we'll be using a lot of jargons. Just want to make sure it's clarified. PSPC is Public Services and Procurement Canada. So PSPC manages the procurement of goods and services that are valued at about $27 billion annually on behalf of the Government of Canada. On an average, smaller businesses in Canada win the majority of the total value of contracts that are awarded by PSPC each year, of course, with the exception of emergency purchases where there is an immediate risk to public interest. Now, the biggest question is, how much does the government buy in total? Each year, the Government of Canada spends billions of dollars by awarding hundreds and thousands of contracts and making more than a million direct purchases from businesses. Again, this is a huge value. Just a statistical number. As of the fiscal year 22 to 23, the federal government spend was about $37 billion. I'll repeat it, it's $37 billion was spent by the federal government as a whole. And out of the $37 billion, our department, which is PSPC, which is the centralized buyer for the government departments, we spent $27 billion. So it's a huge marketplace for small and diverse businesses across Canada. The Government of Canada always believes that competition in the buying process brings the best value for money to the Canadians. And more than anything, it is always required for the government to make sure all the suppliers have equal chance of doing business with us. The federal laws and regulations, as well as the Treasury Board of Canada policies, define the procurement process in order to ensure a sound financial management of public money, which is our core focus and interest. And one of the things that was a recent announcement which we would like to share here was on June 19, 2025, the Government of Canada announced the implementation of policy on reciprocal procurement. It's a policy on reciprocal procurement. Many of you would have probably read about it in the news articles. This policy protects and supports Canadian workers and businesses and develops a mutually beneficial and resilient supply chain. So that is the main objective of this particular policy. And under this policy, the Canadian suppliers will continue to have default access to all federal procurement opportunities. However, foreign suppliers will only be eligible for procurements that are subject to a trade agreement between Canada and the country of their place of business. I would like to repeat this particular policy because this is kind of a new one. So the Canadian suppliers, nothing has changed. It's a default business as usual. It's only for the foreign suppliers. They will be only eligible for procurements that are subject to trade agreements between Canada and the country from where they're doing business. So this is a new policy which has been announced. There are a number of procurement initiatives that aim to increase the diversity of federal procurement opportunities. The first is the PSIB, which is Procurement Strategy for Indigenous Businesses. So this has set aside opportunities and requirements for all the procurements to be set aside for a 5% of minimum contract value to indigenous businesses. We also have better buying initiatives and green procurement, which is the key focus. So we at Procurement Assistance Canada work both with businesses and internal departments and agencies to make sure the opportunities are out there for all businesses. Now, we always keep getting the question, now how do I find opportunities? How do I network with buyers? What are the different methods of supply? So for the next few slides, I'll be speaking more on that particular perspective. So like any other business you do in the private sector, building networks is very critical in order to get your name out there. Again, it's not enough to just build networks. You should also be more proactive in doing your research and seek out for opportunities. Departments and agencies keep buying services and goods all the time, and new requirements rise daily. So we always say those are the successful businesses that keep looking for opportunities and do their own research. There are a lot of databases to do research with the Government of Canada because our information and the procurement information and the data we publish is open to everyone, and anyone can access it. You can market your business directly to the government buyers. Generally speaking, you can talk to the government buyers for procurements which are less than $25,000 in terms of goods and less than $40,000 in terms of services. So for purchases beyond these thresholds is when our department, PSPC, gets involved and we do the procurements for those thresholds. Speaking about low dollar value procurements, there are two categories here. One is low dollar value procurement, and the second category is competitive procurement. And the third category, of course, is non-competitive, which I'll speak in a bit. So purchases below $25,000 for goods and below $40,000 for services and below $100,000 for construction. Again, this includes all applicable taxes. We consider them as low dollar value procurements. Unlike the larger purchases that are done through the solicitation of bids and quotes from potential suppliers, these low dollar value procurements are direct purchases from suppliers. Our buyers normally use their own source list or the networks to identify these suppliers and other resources like the registration databases. That is the reason why we always advise and suggest suppliers, when you register yourself in any government database, make sure you provide all the information as possible about your business. So this is a great opportunity to get the business relationship developed with the Government of Canada. So these low dollar value procurements are definitely a great opportunity for small businesses to start with and do their business with the Government of Canada. Speaking about non-competitive procurement, most often the contracts are awarded through a competitive basis, but however, in certain circumstances, the Government of Canada does procurements on a non-competitive basis. Firstly, being in case of any pressing emergency, and secondly, the dollar value is less than the thresholds just I mentioned before. And thirdly, sometimes the nature of work is so that we cannot solicit public bids for national security purposes. And finally, in case of any copyrights. But again, these are a small fraction of the entire procurement. But in each of these cases, we have a sound justification behind why the non-competitive procurement is being done. In all other circumstances, the Government of Canada does a competitive process, which I just highlighted. And in terms of competitive procurement, anything above these thresholds I just mentioned, $25,000 for goods and $40,000 for services and more than $100,000 for construction, they fall under the competitive procurement method. Again, there are different methods of procurement that we use. Some are RFP. Many of you are familiar with RFP because you do RFPs, you respond to RFPs with private sector. So we do RFPs as well. So RFP again is a request for proposal, which includes specifications for goods and services supply that are required. And most importantly, we do include the evaluation criteria on which the winning bid will be evaluated. And we also have RFSOs and RFSA. Just speaking about it briefly, so when there are certain requirements, goods and services that are procured in a repeated way, because many different departments may have a requirement. So we use RFSOs and standing offer and supply arrangements where we pre-qualify suppliers and we use this method of supply. And again, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us. We'll be able to explain more in detail. This is one of the key slides because Mianzi and I interacted with a lot of businesses today, for instance, morning. So we heard about many professional services suppliers here, many into IT sector, supplying human resource services, consulting services. So if you're a business who's probably supplying professional services to the Government of Canada, this is for you. So we have a website which is called CPSS, which is Centralized Professional Services System. So if you're a provider of IT and non-IT professional services, you may wish to consider registering on the CPSS to access the pro services method of supply. And we have task-based informatics professional services, solutions-based services, and we also have task and solution services, your temporary health services, and let's say you're into auditing services, you have professional auditing services, and I did come across a company where they do linguistic services. There is a director of linguistic services. So if you're into services, and if you're looking to supply your services to the Government of Canada, so CPSS is a website that you need to go to, and our office is there to assist you in terms of navigating the website and probably making you understand the pre-qualification process, which is very specific to your business. So you can reach out to us if you have any questions on that. Now, this is the most important piece. We spoke about a lot of parts about opportunities, dollar values, method of supply. Now, the key question is, how do I find these opportunities? Is there a website? Is there a marketplace? Is there one resource or one direct way to find these opportunities, which is Canada Buys? I'm sure many of you have come across this website. It's called canadabuys.canada.ca. So this is the one-stop marketplace for all the government procurements. And this is how it looks like for those of you who have already visited Canada Buys. This is how the outlook looks like. It's a very, very easy to use website. All the Government of Canada opportunities are posted on this website. And not only that, the opportunities from other tiers of government are also posted here for trade agreement thresholds. There are a lot of benefits of using Canada Buys. Few benefits which I want to speak here is, first of all, you don't need to do any registration process on Canada Buys, so one less work of remembering your user IDs and passwords. So it's an open website, anyone can go and search. And second, you can use plain language keywords. So there's nothing complex there that you need to use a very strong search criteria or something. It's very plain language. You know more about your business. You can start with that plain language search in terms of the products and services that you're supplying, and you can take it from there. And third, the most important piece here, so we keep stressing about the research part. So any business owner, so if you're entering into a new sector or probably you're entering into a new business plan, you always do your own research. Researching about what is it there for me? What are the opportunities that are there? What is the dollar value that I'm looking at? What is the spend that I'm looking at? So all these opportunities are bundled in Canada Buys. So once you start searching for the search word for your business that you're looking to supply, it'll give you three categories. One is open contract, open notices, which will speak more about what is open for bidding. Second category is contract awards, and the third is contract history. The award notices and the contract history is a very, very critical piece of information for business, because this is where you will be able to find what was awarded for a similar line of products and services that you're looking to supply. This will give you an understanding about which department was buying it, what is the dollar value that is procured, and what are the method of supply attached with it. This piece of information and research is very essential, and a lot of information is available in Canada Buys, and our team would be happy to walk you through if needed, and please reach out to us. And last, one of the important pieces as well. As small businesses, you wear multiple hats. You can't have all the time to sit in front of Canada Buys and look for information. We do have options for subscribing, which means that you do a search and you see that the search is good. It shows a lot of results which are relevant to you. You can subscribe for notifications and you can put your information like your name and your email address. And whenever there is any opportunity posted on Canada Buys for a similar search criteria, you'll be notified and you can come back to Canada Buys and review the opportunity. So these are great features on Canada Buys that are very useful for small businesses. And now we spoke about a lot of things. One last piece I want to speak about is registration aspect. So there are certain registration platforms that you need to register to start your business relationship with the Government of Canada. So I'll speak very briefly on this, the main being SAP Ariba. You might notice it when you go to Canada Buys, when you look for opportunities, you click on opportunity, and it might take you to SAP Ariba. SAP Ariba is an e-procurement solution. All the tenders can be downloaded from SAP Ariba, and you can bid on the opportunities on SAP Ariba as well. It's very easy to register and very easy to navigate. Our team does webinars to navigate SAP Ariba as well, and you'll be able to help on that, assistance on that. And second is SRI, which is Supplier Registration Information. It's again a government database. And the third piece is, like I just mentioned a few slides before, if you're a service provider, you may wish to navigate CPSS as well. Centralized Professional Services System, where you can pre-qualify yourself, go through the process, and you can select the streams and categories that are applicable to you. To learn more about procurement opportunities, Canada Buys is the best place to start. It also has a getting started section where you can navigate and understand what are the different tools that are available. A lot of sales resources are available there as well. And our website is canada.ca/pack. You have a lot of resources in terms of how to reach out to us, speaking notes of presentations, and many of the resources are available on the website. And we do host webinars. So in terms of assistance, we offer webinars and seminars on a regular basis, and all our services are free of cost. We run weekly webinars on various topics. If you're busy and if you're not able to attend one of the webinars, you can easily see what are the next webinar, and you can attend those webinars. And most importantly, we offer one-on-one meetings. We offer 30-minute one-on-one meetings. Again, free of cost. You can book any number of one-on-one meetings with the team. So as long as your questions are answered, we will be happy to provide the service of one-on-one and walk you through the process. And we do have a 1-800 national number as well. You can contact us through. I do want to speak about this upcoming event, which is on October 16th. So this event is called Small and Medium Enterprise Procurement Fair. So this event is, we are Procurement Residence Canada Ontario region, where Imanzi and I are working. We are partnering with the city of Vaughan for this event. The best part about this event is you don't only get a chance to interact with federal buyers, but also we are bringing the other tiers of government as well. We have Supply Ontario, we have City of Mississauga, and many other municipalities, including City of Vaughan, host partner. You get a chance to meet the buyers directly there, have a one-on-one meeting with them. And we also have a lot of government support programs that are participating. So if you wish to register, you can use this QR code to register, or probably you can talk to Manzi or myself, and we'll be able to help you with the registration process. So in terms of next steps, you can start your registration with SAP Ariba, and you can start. And in case you have any questions, you can reach out to any of the offices which is nearer to you. And as I just mentioned, Imanzi and I are from the Ontario Region office. You can reach out to us for any questions, and we'll be able to help you. And this is our email address, and you can contact information is here. And that concludes my part of the presentation. I'll pass it over to Imanzi for the ideas presentation. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Prasabhan. So hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Glad to see folks are still here, and really appreciate you all that are joining us here today. So I'll just jump right into the presentation. So switching gears now. So you've heard about federal procurement, and there's definitely been lots of interest for those that are interested in learning about how to sell their goods and services to the government. So what I'm going to be talking about, which I've been talking to some of you in at the table, is a program that's being offered by the Department of National Defense, which is a program called the Innovation for Defense Excellence and Security Program. How many of you here, by show of hands, are in the innovation space? You're creating an innovative product, solution. Okay, so there's a few of you. So this overview is going to be really informative for you. And so what it is an innovation challenge-based program. So it is quite different than some of the other government programs out there that are looking for specific solutions, or federal procurement that's looking to provide you're providing your services for a particular requirement. Here, this is a program where they are looking for innovators to suggest and to propose solutions related to defense and security. And I'll talk briefly about this. So this was launched in 2017, so it's not a new program. So it's a program through the Canadian Armed Forces, and it was given a budget of about 1.2 billion over 20 years to advance defense and security initiatives in Canada, because they are realizing that a lot of the innovation is actually happening outside of government laboratories. And so innovation is actually happening in the field. So what this program is looking to do is to tap into that ingenuity that many Canadian innovators are possessing and are having. And so that's one of the key focus of the program. So in terms of who is eligible for it, it's pretty much open to anyone. This is a program where you pretty much, you could be in ideation stage of a startup. You could be in a prototyping, an R&D stage, and this could be open to you. So if you're not for profit, if you are a sole proprietor, if you're a startup, you're an entrepreneur, if you're a student, if you're working in academia, this program is open to you. And so that's the great part of it, the flexibility in terms of who is open to. And it's across various different sectors in which they could be looking. But the key thing to keep in mind is that all of the challenges that they're going to be proposing, that they're looking for solutions, is focused on defense and security. Because again, the end user client that would be looking to adopt these solutions would be the Canadian Armed Forces. But I'll talk more about what it looks like shortly. Here just kind of gives a brief overview of the sectors, where innovators are applying from, and it's across a whole cross sector of SMEs, academia, large industry, and individuals also as well. And so, as I mentioned earlier, there is a critical need in responding to the emerging threats that are facing the Canadian Armed Forces, and obviously the threats of globalization and science and technology. And so a key focus of the DRDCC is looking to tap into those solutions. And so that's why this program has been launched. So looking at sort of how the IDEAS program is structured, so it's based on a sort of funding continuum model. And so the whole focus is that they want to advance some critical areas. So they want to advance research and development. So IDEAS supporting the building of dynamic and innovative solutions that could be adopted by Canadian military. They want to also advance or have a demonstration of science, of technologies and prototypes. So pushing forward technology to a level in which it could be adopted in the real world, and the testing of the best solutions. And so similar to like a sandbox or a hackathon where they're looking for the best solutions, right? So it's really taking those innovative solutions that may have not been looked at before, or maybe that's not on the radar, and looking to find the best solutions for it. So in terms of some of the funding, so this is now where the most interest would lie, is how does the program actually roll out? So in terms of what is available, so pretty much, just to give you a high-level overview, they will announce these call for proposals. They'll announce the challenges on their website. The best way to find out about these challenges is to go to their website, subscribe to their mailing list, and you're informed. But there could be several different streams. So some of the streams are innovation networks. So this is where it could provide up to $3 million to encourage collaboration across a broad sector of network expertise to advance research and development. So that could be, you know, collaborating with academia, institutions. So if you're a business startup, you want to collaborate, let's say, with a local college or university to submit a proposal in response to a challenge, that could be through an innovation network. Competitor projects, this is usually, so this is, you'll see their TRL, so the technology readiness levels. And anyone that's familiar, if you're involved in the incubator accelerator space, to kind of assess in terms of what TRL that you're on. So it kind of breaks it down in terms of who they're looking for in terms of what stage. So at the competitive project level, so that's for up to, yeah, we have here actually, yeah, so my notes are actually quite different. So this is up to 6.75 million in phase development funding to building and progressing technology forward. So again, they're responding to that challenge, and so promising solutions could be selected to advance it to that next stage. But this is one of the highest level in terms of funding. The next ones are sort of smaller, maybe not, some of them maybe not associated with specific cash prizes or funding, but they're also looking to crowdsource and also to test it out. So contests are, you know, looking to find the best solutions, and so you'll be sort of in a situation where you're going to have to compete with other innovators to then test out that possible solution. So that's a contest. Sandboxes, again, you know, in a situation where they're trying to test out, you know, what is the capacity, what is the actual potential for that solution, and so there all actually is opportunities for you to have reimbursement of travel. So if you need to do R&D and you need to test it out, so there could be also travel expenses that could be also associated with that. Okay. And so test drive, this will be at TRL 7 to 9. So this is now towards a later stage. So you kind of have got through the beginning stage of the phase sort of development funding, and now test drive is now the last stage in which it's looking to be potentially adopted. So this is now when you test it out in front of real world experts of the Canadian Armed Forces stakeholders in a real world environment, again, to test out whether or not the solution could actually be utilized. So this would be one of the end goals of the program, is to get to that test drive. And so they're constantly looking for ways to improve, they're looking for ways to possibly deliver on it. And of course, anything that you are developing within the program in terms of IP, because IP is definitely a question that definitely comes up, anything that you do develop as the innovator, that IP gets to stay with you. So if it is adopted and used by the Canadian military in terms of, you know, acquiring that particular solution to address that challenge, but anything that you are creating, the IP gets to stay with you, and that could be further commercialized for additional use. So yeah, that's just the slide there about the IP. And so there is also different supports that are available in terms of off-ramp supports offered by the Canadian Intellectual Property Office. So our office also does collaborate with that office as well to give you some additional off-ramp support services. And then in terms of some current challenges, so there are some current challenges available. So you go onto the website, so canada.ca/ideas. You'll be able to see what are the current open challenges. And so there's a current open challenges for some counter uncrewed aerial systems, so advancing drone technology. You're seeing there some deadline dates. You're seeing code meets combat, future proofing, solar state hydrogen storage facilities. Again, so some of it could be across sectoral type of approach where they're looking at clean tech, they're looking at different storage facilities, they're looking at advanced robotics, quantum computing, of course AI, and again, obviously in a situation that could be adopted by the Canadian military. So where to go in terms of how to find out. So it's just the last slide here. So you can scan the QR code there. We do have a QR code at our table as well. You could go directly onto their website, subscribe to their mailing list. That's honestly the best way to find out about upcoming opportunities and challenges. The deadlines do vary, so sometimes it could be open for a few weeks, sometimes shorter, but once you subscribe, you'll be notified, and so this is one of the best ways to find out about the IDEAS program. And with that, I think that is it. So I think we have time for any questions on federal procurement, as my colleague Prasaban had delivered a presentation, or if you have any questions for the IDEAS program. Thank you. All clear.
We have a question.
Procurement or? Okay. Right. Yeah. Right. That's a great question. So there is no one single database for that, but probably what we always recommend is, let's say you're probably working in a particular sector and you keep looking at RFPs that are coming out. We always encourage you to download the documents for that particular RFP for a particular opportunity, because we make sure any regulations, anything attached with that particular work or scope of work or the product we're buying, it's aligned with the RFP solicitation document itself. So we highly recommend you to refer only to that documentation, because each procurement is different, but everything will be consolidated in that solicitation document. But that is the best way, because why we do this is actually because if we keep it in a common place, what typically is going to happen is different solicitations have different compliances. So probably I would recommend that's the best way to move forward on that. Thanks for the question. Anything else? Sorry, there's one more.
Oh, so it's better for them to send you guys.
Sure, thanks for that question. I'll probably brief on that, but we can speak more. So the first piece is actually the great part about small business challenge. So when there's an opportunity, the evaluation criteria is very strong. It requires more financial capacity and everything. So for that particular piece, we do have an option, which is partnering or joint venturing with businesses. Even on Canada Buy's website, when you particularly go for an opportunity, at the bottom of that page, there is an option which says partner with other business. You can click that and you can enter the information that you want to be expressed there. So what typically happens is anyone who's going to bid will see that information, and if they find a potential with you, they can collaborate. To your second point on payments, The payment methods are probably the payment mechanisms are highlighted in the solicitation documents, but our payment policies are very straightforward, net 30 days, and any delays are subject to interest, which is being paid. Thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pratibhan and Imanzi, for your presentation from Procurement Canada. So we only have one more speaker who's coming up next. After that, we will have our pitch competition. But just to let you know that Gregory Shepard is doing a book signing in the other hall right there. So anyone interested in getting a book from him or having him sign the book, he's going to be in the next hall. Okay, so next, our last speaker is going to be a quick 15-minute chat on funding pathways made simple. It's going to be presented by Sudha Correa. She is the Director, Global Investment and Innovation Incentives. I can't see, they're turning the lights off. At Deloitte, she is an expert in non-dilutive funding and SR and ED. And I'm sure that Sudha will explain what all that means to us soon. So Sudha, where are you? And before Sudha comes up, Aisha wants to say something.
Sorry, everyone. So we do have an amazing session by Deloitte. But before that, just to wake everyone up, we would like to play a small video, which is a blast from the past. So we're just getting that. After that, can all the pitch participants please come and meet me at the back so we can tell you what order you're pitching in?
So that the stage is all yours. Wanted to just re-energize the room before our session 2, and please.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully everyone's got some coffee. And yeah, I just wanted to thank CSA, Tamina Hamad, for giving me this opportunity. So today, what I'm going to be presenting on is basically how to grow your company using government grants and incentives. Quick introduction. So my name is Sudha Correa. I am a director with the grants and incentives team at Deloitte Canada. So I am based out of Toronto. And basically, my background is in engineering. I'm a computer engineer. But very soon after graduation, I started consulting in the R&D tax credit space, and found that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed working with startups, with companies of all sizes. And 2 years after starting my first job, I decided to become an entrepreneur, and decided to start my own business, which I did for about 15 years before moving into an accounting firm and then eventually to Deloitte. So yep, so we'll just run through. I'm just I know we're short on time, so I'm just gonna run through some of the different grants and incentives and programs really quickly. And I'm on LinkedIn, so if anybody wants to connect, always happy to chat. And with a lot of the grants that are available, there's about 2,000 available at a time. So what we really try to do is cater our approach to your company, what you're planning on doing in the next few years, and really try to partner with you to be part of your growth. So that's just me. Let's move on. So the grants and incentives landscape in Canada. So a lot of people will come to me and say, you know, what is available out there? You know, there's tax credits that, such as the SHRED program. We'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. So this is basically a retrospective type of program where you will spend money doing R&D or investing in your company in some way, and then you're able to apply for a tax credit after the fact. There are grants that you can apply for based on if you meet the criteria, and then there's a lot of negotiated grants incentives for employment creation or capital investment. So that seems to be kind of the area that grants and incentives are focused on. And then on the other side, there's a lot of different grants that come up based on the government's priorities at the time. So this can be very specific R&D projects. So AI and clean tech are a big one right now. So we'll see there's a lot of money being invested at different levels and through different channels. You know, capital investment. So let's say you're installing a new production line, you're able to access some grants funding and even no interest loans for some of that. Employment creation, if you're you know, opening in a new location, and this can be outside of Canada as well. So if you have an established company in Canada and you're looking to branch into, you know, used to be the US a lot, but if you're looking into Europe, there are some programs that can help you with that. And then the environment is another area that we're finding, and we think we will see a lot more funding get launched in this area, and this is a lot towards all of the clean tech tax credits that we're seeing. So again, just a quick summarization of kind of the policy environment. So one of the big trends you will see, and that's when I talk to my clients, the first thing I say to them, especially the ones who are here on startup visas, are looking to start their companies in Canada. The Canadian company is really focused on job creation. So anytime you are looking to hire in Canada or let's say hire a company, a Canadian contracting company to do work for you, they do have to be Canadian. They do want to see that the R&D of the work is being done feet on ground in Canada. So that's very important to thing to keep in mind if you're looking to invest in Canada. The other big thing that we're seeing is domestic IP creation. So we have seen a shift in the last, I'd say, 6 months, where the government has integrated into a lot of their programs that if they are investing in your company or giving you a loan for any type of work you're doing, that the IP does have to stay within Canada in order for you not have to pay back the loan. So that's something just to keep in mind. And you know, just some other areas there that we see some funding being given out. So the main tax credit or R&D funding in Canada is through the SHRED program. So this is the Scientific Research and Experimental Development Program. So this is basically any type of project that is when you're investing in systematic investigation to advance your knowledge of any type of subject matter. So this can be across any field. IT is the big one. I'd say 75% of the work we do is in IT, but it's also very big in the food industry, mechanical, basically anything. So this can be experimental development where you're basically developing a new product or process, but it can also be basic research. So when you're doing, let's say, a university type of white coat type of research. So this, as I said, is the biggest program in Canada. It's been around for about 30 years. It is tiered, so small companies do get access to more funding than larger companies. And smaller companies do get a refundable tax credit, so they would get a check at the end of the year when they submit their application, versus a large company would basically get a non-refundable tax credit that they can apply against any taxes owing. There are 2 tiers to it, so federal and provincial. So where you decide to actually set up your R&D facility does affect which provincial credit you would be eligible for, and in turn affects what you can get back. So the qualified expenditures, as I'd mentioned before, employment is the big one, so it's really about labor. So Canadian labor or any Canadian contractors is really what makes up the most of this tax credit. And then you can also include any type of materials that are consumed. Let's say you create a prototype or you're running a test run, you can also claim some of that back. The other great thing about this program is they throw in an extra 55% as an overhead kind of bump up. So that'll cover any of your overhead expenditures. And you're basically looking at between 20 to 60% of your R&D costs back as either a tax credit or a non-refundable tax credit that you can apply against any taxes owing. So the question I get all the time, especially when working with startups, is, we're pre-revenue. What can we apply for? So the great thing about the SHRED program is you can actually apply for that if you're pre-revenue. The only thing is you do have to have expenditures in the year that you're applying. So this is very, so we always encourage companies to talk to us early on because a lot of the time with startups, the founders are, it might be, two founders who started a tech company, they're the only employees and they're not pulling out a salary out of the company. And because they're not doing that, they can't actually apply for these tax credits. So we do kind of advise on that, where we'll kind of sit down with you and kind of go through a calculation to say, okay, if you're pulling out, let's say, $60,000 as a salary, this is the CPP and the I you're paying, this is what you can get back as a SHRED tax credit, so does it make sense? And we can kind of help with the strategizing of that. So that's really a big part of what we do. This is, just talks a little bit about the SHRED project here. So as I'd mentioned, applied research qualifies and any kind of experimental development of new processes. Support work is basically any type of work that you'd have to do in order to carry out the R&D. So I'm going to run through this really fast because we don't have much time, but yeah, I'd definitely love to connect to talk about it a little bit more. In order to apply for a tax credit, you do need to submit a proposal, which is really what my team specializes in. We would put together a proposal for you that outlines how your project shows some kind of technological uncertainty or challenge in what you're doing, the experimentation or systematic work that you're doing to try to overcome that challenge, and how you've advanced your knowledge of the subject matter by going through this process. So once you hit those 3 criteria, then there's a really high chance that you have a SHRED eligible project. And so this is an interesting slide. So this one just kind of gives you an idea of what you can get back, right? So let's say this is a company, a small Canadian controlled private corporation based out of BC. They have about $250,000 in SHRED expenditures. So $100,000 in salaried employees. The automatic proxy bump up I had mentioned for the overhead is $55,000. And then they've hired a subcontractor. Subcontractors are eligible at 80%. And they have some materials at 50%. So, this would give them a total eligible expenditure of $285,000. And then once we apply the provincial credit at 10% and then the federal credit at 35%, we're looking at about a 47% benefit. So this is a great planning tool. So, if you know that you're able to get a SHRED tax credit, this can actually help you plan for hiring, just for future cash flow. So great program to keep in mind. And because this program is in legislature, it is very well funded. They don't run out of money. It's uncapped. And it's not going away. So all of the G7 countries have a similar program, but the Canadian program is the most lucrative. So we definitely always encourage our clients to be aware of the SHRED rules, be aware of the program, and try and set up your company so you can take advantage of the program. So this slide just gives you an idea of some of the different provincial credits that the SHRED program has. So as I'd mentioned, there's a provincial and a federal portion. So as you can see, being in Quebec is the most lucrative. And then next would be Ontario. So we have a couple of credits there. But where you decide to actually set up your R&D center or where your labor is located will make a difference in how much you're eligible for. So keynotes for SHRED, as I mentioned, if you are a specified employee, which basically means you own more than 10% shares, you do have to be taking out a salary on payroll in order to be eligible for this program. So we could definitely have some conversations about that and kind of figuring out what's the appropriate amount to take out, because obviously you're paying CPP, you're paying EI and personal taxes on that. And the government does want to see that you're doing periodic deductions, so taking the money out at least quarterly versus at one time at the end of the year, because then it can be considered a bonus, which would not be eligible. R&D must take place in Canada. The province selected will affect the tax rate. All your costs do have to be expensed in your financial statement, not capitalized. So all the accountants in the room will know what I'm talking about, but we can talk about this later. And you do need to incorporate your company to be eligible for a 35% rate. So I do encourage all startups. This is something you should be doing from the beginning, is incorporating instead of doing a sole proprietorship, because it does put you in a position to be able to take advantage of a lot of the programs. Document all your expenses. Make sure you're keeping track of everything. So just think of it as your taxes. If you're at the end of the year when you're submitting your taxes, you want to have receipts to show your expenses. So similarly for Shred, they want some kind of documentation of the R&D you're doing. So in software, it can be Jira logs, any kind of code commits. But even in let's say a food production plant, it would be trial runs. As long as you're keeping track of what you're doing, that is your proof of R&D. Another interesting is with the Shred program, a project does not have to be a success in order to claim. If it's a failure, that's actually great. A lot of our clients tell us that we make them relive their nightmares, because we want to hear about all the problems, all the things that didn't work, all the the prototypes they had to scrap, because that shows that technical challenge or uncertainty was there to start with. And another interesting with this program is you do not have to be the first to market. It does not have to be groundbreaking research. As long as we're able to show that you're not able to find answers to your challenges in the available knowledge or online and looking at white papers, you would probably have a good project for Shred. So just going to skim over a few other programs. So this one is always an interesting one, the Industrial Research Assistance Program, also known as IRAP. So this again is a government agency that funnels some of the funding that the government has. The good thing about this program is it does provide funding upfront, so you're able to apply when you're starting a project, and they tend to look for more of a marketable product. So if it's like first to market, first in Canada, that's what they really like to hear about. They do get a budget per year, so they do run out of money quite quickly, but they will, if they decide to support your project, you can get up to 80% of your employees and up to 50% of your contractors, and this would be paid out monthly. The thing about this program is it is not suited to startups, because they are looking for you to be incorporated for at least 3 years and showing a revenue of about 500,000. But we have had strategies where we can show, let's say you have a successful sister company or a group of companies, they might look to help fund. But again, not one for a startup or early stage startup, but one that you should be planning for and thinking about. And this is why it's important to show revenue as you're growing. There are also lots of various hiring programs. Again, these ones don't require that you're showing revenue. Most of them you can apply for as a startup. So if you're looking at hiring, new employees or even a student to do some research for you, there's lots of programs out there that can pay up to 75% of your costs. Some of the programs are STEM-based, and you can hire a recent graduate, but this could be someone up to the age of 30. There's also programs out there where you can work with a university, and again, they'll fund up to 75%. And the great thing about all these programs is you can actually stack them. So at the end of the year, you could apply for, get your IRAP, apply for the job grants, and then at the end of the year, apply for Shred as well. So you're taking advantage of all of the different opportunities. So again, student work placement program, another great one. This is usually for co-op student or intern for about 4 months, and it covers 50% of the wages. And this one is one I wanted to mention because I work with a lot of startup visa clients, and most of them have viable products, existing clients overseas, and they want to expand in Canada, but then they're also looking at going into different markets. So this program has been set up, it opens up about twice a year, funds $50,000 to $75,000, and this one you would basically look at applying for if you're looking to, let's say, attend a trade show or launch your business in anywhere in the world where you haven't had $100,000 revenue in the past year. These are one of the ones that that runs out of money quickly. So what we try to do with our clients is have the application ready so that when the portal opens, we're submitting right away. But a great program because you can submit for things like, even Google clicks, you can submit for travel, IP, patent lawyer costs, so very broad. So a good one to be thinking about if you're looking to even expand to the US. The US is divided into 4 quadrants, so you could apply to each of those quadrants and get $50,000 to $75,000 for each one. So in addition to those are sort of the main grants that are available. There, like I said, there's about 2,000. There are grant programs that come and go right now. AI is the big one. We're seeing some different ones coming out. Some of them are for startups, some of them for large companies. But this is kind of, I just wanted to point out some of the innovation clusters that the government seems to be focusing on. So, proteins is a big one. So we have a client who's looking at, insect proteins and looking at mass production of that, incorporating that into, into our food chain. So that's something that's very interesting. And supply chain is another big one that we're seeing a lot of money being put in. And then advanced manufacturing, we're seeing a lot there too. And I think with all of the tariffs and everything that's going on there, we will be seeing a lot of money being put in, continuing into the next year. So another area I'd mentioned before, clean economy ITC. So this is an exciting one. So billions of dollars being invested by the government into all these different areas, and this is something that 3 of the 6 areas I've been looking to launch in have been deployed, and we're at Deloitte we actively have a dedicated group that's working with companies to identify and apply for these programs. So something to think about and definitely reach out if you're if you're in that industry and looking to kind of look at how you can apply for these programs, or maybe even looking for a partner. So we do have companies that we work with that are always looking to partner with other companies to apply for some of these larger grants. So that's always there. And for the AI adoption, I just wanted to point out this program here, Scale AI. So this is a great program, especially if you are a startup or a smaller company. You can be pre-revenues, and as long as you can demonstrate you have sufficient funds to complete the project. And the interesting about this one is you would be applying for this program with your downstream clients. So maybe you have 3 downstream clients that you're going to be selling your product to. They would actually apply for this program with you. And the government would actually pay for the whole program. So it would cover your client's costs for adopting the program, and then they would be paying you at cost. So it's not like the other programs where you're getting a percentage of your labor costs or contractor costs. It would actually cover the full cost. So these ones are relatively newer programs. So we are finding that it's taking a little bit longer for them to process, but definitely a very interesting one because it's funding projects up to $5 million, and we're seeing new programs being rolled out all the time. So if you are in the AI area, or you're looking at any company looking to adopt AI, you should be we'd love to chat to just kind of see if there's anything out that we can help you with. So how can you prepare for growth and success? Just a recap. So you really want to be making sure that you are partnering or talking to a growth expert, whether it's an incubator, accelerator, or someone like myself who's really focused on working with companies of different sizes for grants and tax credits. You really want to make sure that you're starting early, right? So you want to make sure you're making the right decisions. We've had situations where companies come to us 3 years down the road. They've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars developing their product, but they've passed all the deadlines to apply for any of these programs. So, reach out, make sure you're getting the right information, even if you're, pre-revenue, you're just getting your MVP started. It's never too late to just get an idea of what's out there and then start planning for them, especially the well-established programs like Shred. You want to make sure that you are setting yourself up for success there. So some of the things, your finances, like I mentioned, you want to make sure you're incorporated. If you're a shareholder in the company, you want to make sure you're paying yourself properly so that you can capture some of your expenses. Setting up your head office in a key area where not only are you able to access the right clients, but also able to access different resources, and then able to get the most back in tax credits. Start applying for job grants before hiring. So if you're thinking thinking, you know that 6 months down the road you will be hiring, it's time to start talking to us now, right? So we'll start helping you put together some of these applications for the job grants, or even start looking at putting in an IRAP application for you, because you can basically tie in your hiring into these applications and get confirmation of funding before you even start finding someone, and that can be a key decision maker. Again, there's a lot of it, which is great being in the GTA, a lot of immigrant entrepreneur groups that I've seen popping up, and a lot of them a lot like CSA. They're very active, and great people who really want to help and are very interested in just helping. So they're just make sure you're reaching out, attending the events. And then, why work with Deloitte? I get that question a lot, and a lot of the time people will say to me, well, Deloitte doesn't work with startups, so Deloitte's too expensive. Well, the interesting thing is I've actually found that our fees are really competitive compared to some of the other boutiques out there, and we've actually made a conscious effort to make sure that our fees are reasonable, because we really want to form a partnership. It's something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy working with startups. I have some companies I've been working with for 15 years, see them grow from 2 people to 200. It's just very satisfying to be able to help with that. And in addition to just the grants and incentives, which my team works on, we also have access to all different areas, right? So if we look at international tax, so Miriam was just mentioning before that, if you're, let's say, have an office in Pakistan, another one in India, and you're opening one in Canada, then now you have a US investor, there's a lot of tax implications that you need to be thinking about, and we can bring the right people in for you to talk to, make sure you get the right advice. Even if you're looking at, commercializing IP, Deloitte also has a venture group, so they're usually looking for IT companies with revenue about $1 million. And then just being part of the Deloitte network, you do get access to a lot of these, just talking to the right people. We also run a lot of different events. So we did have a reverse pitch event where we had about 20 VCs actually pitching to startups in the summer, and we will be doing things of that again. So yeah, just add me on LinkedIn. I usually share a lot of this info, so we can definitely work in that. Just another quick slide here. Why work with Deloitte? Flexible fees is the one that people like to hear about. But yeah, these are just some of the different areas that we work with. We are the biggest group in Canada that's helping companies with grants and incentive funding. And we're made about 2/3 with engineers and scientists, and the other third with business professionals. So you're definitely working with the best, and you're working with people who have 20, 25, 30 years experience in the grants environment. And I think we have time for maybe a couple of questions. Or maybe not, maybe one. Let's go ahead. It's a very broad definition. So as long as you're showing that it's AI adoption, so you're bringing AI into your platform, and all the underlying technology that needs to be deployed in order to get it to work, you can group all of that in. So it's really about with a lot of this, it's how you put the proposal together, and that's really what our job is. And we do work with a lot of government agencies where we're getting on the phone and talking to them before we even put an application in, because we want to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward. So we do take a very conscious effort to do that. So there are different programs. So there are programs where, as a software developer, you can apply for your own platform if you're looking to increase the the AI capabilities of it, or if you're customizing your platform for a client, there are different programs that you can apply for there. So yeah, it's always great to just have a conversation with us. What we try to do is look at a 3 to 5 year plan for you, and have these discussions, right? Like if I go in towards this path, what does that open up for me? If I do it this way, what can I take advantage of? So that's really what we try to do and help with.
Okay. Do you work with startups pre-MVP or post-MVP?
So in terms of the advisory services, so kind of sitting down with you and planning out and giving you some information about the different programs that are out there, we're working with startups from the beginning, right? Like sometimes we're talking to people saying, I have an idea and I'd like to do this. So we'll talk to them at that point. But definitely in terms of when you can actually start taking advantage of these programs, you would need to have expenses, which the SHRED program is really the first one where you would be able to take advantage of, and that's usually after your first year of accumulating expenses. So yeah, just to give you an idea. But we can definitely chat if there's any other areas that you'd like to look at. Yeah, so I am on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me any questions at all. Like I said, always happy to talk. Tax isn't my specialty, but we can always bring the right people if you have any questions about specific things. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sudha from Deloitte. I know we're getting there, guys. Almost the end of the day, and we have the moment that we have been waiting for, the exciting pitch competition. This event is it's going to be powered by the Export Development Canada, and I'm just going to list the 5 startups who are going to be pitching. Oops. The first one's going to be a company called Bidbo. Second one is Teach Buddy, Thrive Together, Ride Alike, and Drone Ship. Sounds pretty exciting. So we're just going to get set up here for them to start their pitches, and just hang in there for 2 seconds while we get organized. And I think there's going to be 3 judges who's going to be judging their pitches. So let's listen.
When something is not happening right, they call me in. And I'm totally ill-prepared for this, but I have to introduce 4 judges. So we have Fazan, a dear friend, an expert in his field, has already done, I think, 3-4 exits, and now he only writes checks, so he knows how to invest into startups. We have Trisha, massive experience, international experience with startups and startup ecosystem. We have Sudha. Of course, you've just heard Sudha with her expertise. She's an engineer, by the way, as well, so she comes with that analytical mindset. And who else? We have Mariam from EDC. And this pitch competition is sponsored by EDC. And the winners of these pitch competitions will get a free pod at Expand North Star GITEX in Dubai, which is world's largest tech exhibition. So some of you may have visited Collision here or maybe Web Summit. It's just maybe 10, 15 times bigger than that. Supported by Dubai Chamber of Digital Economy. And I only learned this year, like when these people flew in and we did their roadshows, that Dubai was the first, or UAE was the first place that actually started with AI ministry. Can you think about it? They're far ahead, it seems. So with that, we are, who's going to invite these startups? Towards the end, we are allowed to do that. So, I mean, I have a list. I have the list here. Bidbo. All right, so Bidbo, they are going to go first here. Put your hands together, encourage them.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. This is Hadil, CEO and co-founder at Bidbo. Am I controlling the slides or someone? I use this. So, like many industries, construction is running on spreadsheets. But when it comes to cost estimating, one spreadsheet mistake is enough to cause devastating losses, sometimes enough to put contractors out of business. And with the construction industry running on such slim margins, there's really no room for error or mistakes. Yet we find that close to 70% of contractors are still using spreadsheets for estimating. At BidBo, we're focusing on solving the issues with estimating and bidding because that's where everything starts. It's how contractors win and lose work, and it also sets the foundation for proper budget control down the line. Our software and company is called BidBo because, like an archery bow, it's fast, accurate, and flexible. And that's exactly why our clients choose us. We've seen our clients go from a trial sign-up to submitting their first bid within a week. And they're getting estimating almost 4 times as fast and getting more and more speed the more they use it. The platform gives them unmatched accuracy with flexible cost nesting and grouping structures without the chaos of spreadsheets or the complexity of legacy rigid systems. They also love BidBo's flexibility because it gives them the structure and freedom to estimate anything their own way. And finally, we've added AI where it adds true value and ROI, always keeping the estimator in control, because when it comes to cost estimating, there's really no room for mistakes or gimmicks. The opportunity for BidBo is now. McKinsey ranks construction as one of the world's least digitized industries. In that report, it also estimates that if the construction industry globally fully adopts digital technology, it can increase its value add by 1.6 trillion annually. Combine that with the fact that we're going to be spending 64 trillion on global infrastructure over the next 25 years, plus a younger tech-savvy generation moving into construction, it creates the perfect wave of opportunity for BidBo. And in fact, construction estimating software is already valued at $2 billion total addressable market with a 9.7% growth rate. And BidBo is building the exact solution that this industry needs to move estimating and cost management into the future. A little bit on our traction. Since we've launched our new platform in April, we've managed to attract clients across the Middle East, the US, and even Africa and Australia. Our clients are finding us organically through referrals, through online search and forums, and they've been able to, we've been able to see monthly growth and greater than 95% retention. BidBo's already winning, but BidBo's also helping our clients when you can see one of our clients' success stories here and in Dubai. Yeah, this was my last slide, so thank you for listening.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your business model?
Yeah, we sell our software on a per-user subscription basis. So we charge starting from $240 per user per month, and we give discounts for annual terms, and we give discounts when the user count goes up.
Great, thank you.
Quick question.
Yeah.
How many total users do you have on platform today?
So we have about now 60 some users. About in terms of number of companies is 23. But some companies are small where they have just 1 user, and some are bigger that have up to 10 users.
Great. And do you also estimate the total project that they're working on, the total value of the project that they're putting out the bids for?
It's still not something we're actively capturing right now, but we have clients estimating anything from like a few $100,000 to like the one that I showed here, which is in the millions. So it's been able to scale from really small to really large, and I think this is one of the competitive advantages we have. Is it's easy, but it's also flexible and scalable and adapts to the different types of contractors and projects that they need to use it for.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I didn't get when the date of the foundation of the company.
Yeah, so the company was incorporated in 2021. It was mostly an explorative experience, but we only had a product available in market in April of this year.
Okay, thank you. So what's the traction in terms of revenue, and how do you plan on scaling that and really acquire, expand your customer acquisition strategy?
Yeah, we're getting very close to hitting 100K annual in US dollars. And we've been seeing between 9 to 15% monthly growth without much spending on marketing. So the upcoming phase is going to be all about exploring different marketing channels and see which ones we can scale and grow from, and really nailing and honing in on the part of the market where we've seen the fastest adoption, the easiest sales cycles, and really scaling that.
A quick question. So who are your main competitors, and what advantage do you have over them?
Yes. So our competitors in North America, we have two main ones, HCSS, HeavyBid, and B2W. Both are very old legacy on-prem solutions, very capable, a lot of sophistication in those platforms, but they come at a very high cost and a huge user learning experience, which really makes the small to mid-market feel like it's too much for what they need. Thank you.
And now we have Teach Buddy. Put your hands together.
Hi, my name is Munawar Khan, and I'm the founder of Teachbuddy AI. When I was a kid, I felt so left out in my classroom that one morning I ran away from my home just because I wanted to avoid going to school that day. Later, I became a teacher myself to help students like me, and that is when I realized that the problem was not with the teachers, but it was with the system. The system burdens the teachers so much that they are simply burned out. And it's not just my story. 52% students feel left out today, and more teachers are leaving this profession than joining it. And one of the leading reasons behind this whole chaos is teacher burnout. Teachers have to spend 13 hours on non-teaching tasks every single week, in addition to the actual classroom teaching they have to perform. What if we could give this time back to them? What if they have a personal assistant? This is exactly what Teachbuddy AI does. Teachbuddy starts with understanding the unique classroom dynamics and the individual learning needs of every student, and then instantly generates highly differentiated lesson resources that are personalized exactly according to the students in the classroom. But here's the magic. With feedback, it automatically evolves. For example, it uses a teacher's reflection on one lesson plan to automatically improve the next one. And it's not just an idea. It is actually happening right now. With zero marketing spend, teachers from 65 countries have already joined the platform in the last year. 7% of our total users are paid users. Most of them are on yearly subscriptions. And when we run a pilot in a school, 1 in 5 schools convert to the paid B2B subscription. And we have created an overall impact on 175,000 plus learners globally. And we are just starting. We are tapping into the K-12 software market that is estimated at $120 billion. How are we doing it? Well, the teachers and school leaders start with a free but limited account, and then they move to the paid subscription that comes with enhanced features and generous limits. This naturally creates a B2B funnel because teachers and school leaders are exposed to the software. Teachbuddy in contrast with our competitors, is not only an education-specific platform, but it also uses agentic AI to create highly integrated and personalized experience. But what does it matter? It means the features in TeachBuddy can talk to each other and can call each other when it's needed, which means that your classroom is completely understood by TeachBuddy, all the features at all times. And this is the perfect team to solve this problem. We all have faced the challenges as students, and we all have faced challenges and burnout as teachers as well. On top of that, I bring 15 years of software development experience. Manur brings experience with business and finance, and Hira is our customer success
Time's
head.
up.
Sorry about that. Yes, please. Questions and checks.
Sorry, could you finish what you were saying? Just to finish, yes, the presentations of your co-founders.
Thank you very much. So yeah, in 2026, we aim to scale from 175,000 learners to 1 million learners impacted. And for this, we are raising a round of $1 million, $1 per learner. We are going to spend this amount on product development that would also include security and compliance. We are looking for viral marketing, influencer marketing, and increasing our B2B sales, and of course operations, because we have to live. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Can you expand a little bit more about your traction and how many teachers are on board versus how many school boards or ministries that you have engaged with?
Okay, so we have over 6,000 teachers on the platform right now. With B2B sales, we have recently started, and of course, we are a very small team, so this is one area where we want to improve. So we piloted this program on about 15 schools, and we currently have 3 schools on our B2B paid model.
I'm going to go maybe quickly.
Yes.
You mentioned in the beginning that you had onboarded 65 plus countries, right?
So teachers
Without
from
paid
65 countries.
Okay,
yeah.
but how did you achieve that? Were you on social media? What did you do?
Very good question. So yes, I did speak about my platform on LinkedIn as well, but honestly, I'm not that popular. So teachers actually are looking for solutions like this. And I am actually seeing countries appearing in my dashboard that I never even heard the name before. So, and we have identified that a lot of our users are coming from the MENA region, Southeast Asia, and a lot of other African countries. And this is where we want to focus more, because we believe the reason is that the classrooms are more diverse and the resources are more restricted. So TeachBuddy is the perfect platform for them.
Thanks for that. Since you just said that you have the majority of the interest coming from MENA and Southeast Asia, do you have parity pricing so that people in those regions can actually afford to use your product and it scales faster?
So we are offering $5 per user per month, which is actually pretty affordable. For schools, we are offering the same price without any additional, and we are also offering additional tool for school leaders. The only restriction there is that they have to bring at least 20 teachers. So it's very affordable.
Last question. What is, I guess, what are some of the, have you seen any challenges in terms of getting adoption from North American school boards and teachers?
So many. I don't want to get started on that. So the biggest problem that I actually have faced here is that, when I go and talk to the teachers, even the teachers of my own students, on my own children, they actually say one thing, that go and talk to the board. They really like the product, but they want me to talk to the board. But because from other countries, people are coming organically, at this point in time, I'm just focused on where the traffic is coming from. Thank you very much.
Next one is Thrive Together. Claps.
checking the clicker. Okay, my name is Manish Shah, and I'm going to present to you Thrive Together, where seniors connect, collaborate, and find purpose. So before I start about the company itself, let me tell you why I started this company. 25 years ago, I lost my father at the age of 65, and he had a lot of health problems. And now I realize that the major reason for his health problems was loneliness. He was very lonely. Even though family was there, he was very lonely. And fast forward to today, I recently had lost my job, and I realized how lonely I was. So I decided that I should do something about it. And so I interviewed seniors. I went to Seniors Club. I did some research, and I found something which was very striking. 1 in 3 seniors in Canada are feeling lonely and socially isolated. And this creates a lot of health issues. You know, you are more likely to have dementia, almost 26% more likely to die because of loneliness. So we want to change this. People are spending a lot of money. Governments, families, NGOs are spending billions of dollars, and yet this problem is not solved. So here is my solution. Thrive Together, a virtual sanctuary for seniors. Seniors can attend classes, seniors can have celebrations, games, and just discussions with their buddies online. And it will be all guided by a live facilitator. Small groups, shared passions, and guided by facilitators, as I said. So this will not require a lot of initiatives. It's not like a Facebook group where you have to have a lot of initiative to connect to people. We'll have built-in safety and technology that will disappear. So it's all voice-enabled and designed for seniors. One big, ginormous button, you just click and you join. You don't need to remember passwords and whatnot because it's for seniors. Mind you, today seniors are getting very tech-savvy as well. So, you know, estimated $61 billion are here for global digital enablement of seniors, and $5 billion for Canada. And if you take a very small percentage of this market, very, very tiny percentage, your SOM comes out to be 50 million. The way we plan to do this is tiered fees for the seniors. So people, you know, this is the fastest demographic with the highest net worth. So remember, people do have money. Holy, okay. So, okay. Okay, so the richer seniors, they will pay higher fees and subsidize the people who cannot afford. So we want to build the MVP in 6 months and launch it Canada-wide end of next year. So we are asking for 200K seed funding to build the MVP, expand our team, and most importantly, find partners, because the biggest problem with this is getting seniors onboarded, because this is a tech platform. So we want to have government, insurance companies, and NGOs as partners to bring seniors on board. Thank you very much.
I'll start. Thank you so much. It was definitely, amazing pitch. I do have a senior mother, and she's definitely looking for social connections. You mentioned that you're building the MVP right now.
Yes.
So how are you so sure that it's going to work out? Especially in the virtual reality, because again, I think there might be interested in the idea of connecting online, but they're more used to connecting, in person. So how do you gonna make sure that your MVP really represents and reflect the right situation?
So there are 3 reasons. One is, I didn't mention in my pitch, is I have many, many years of experience with RBC, where I built a lot of technical solutions and platforms. But there, we were just making rich people richer. But here, we want to help people. And so I'm very passionate about building this product, and technically, I'm very good at it. The second thing is I have experience working with seniors. So I run a seniors group at the temple, and so I know what seniors would like. And what was you said? So we want to build the platform. The main hurdle would be to bring somebody on board, which we will solve with the partners. Once you are onboarded, it's going to be all voice voice directed, so you don't need to fiddle with the settings and whatnot. It'll be so easy to use for the seniors. So once you are onboarded, and we will have live facilitators. So we want to have social workers, retired teachers to come on board the platform. So it is not just like you are just talking to someone, it will be guided. The group will be guided by a live facilitator.
Thank you. Quick question. Have you explored agents within GPT and others where you can start off by building an MVP without doing the raise or in parallel so that you have a proof of concept product ready?
Everything I do, I'm doing with AI. So I'm not doing, very little I'm doing by hand. So I'm already building it through AI. I'm using Lovable right now to build a prototype so that I can build it very quickly.
Great, thank you.
There's no more questions.
Okay, thank you.
Next is Ride Alike. Are you guys tired? Clap for them.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. We are redefining urban mobility. We are making it as local as borrowing a cup of sugar from your neighbors. So let's take a look at it, why it's important. And before that, quickly, my name is Zilani Bhuyan. I'm co-founder and CEO of Ride Alike. So what we know that car ownership is expensive, and property owners, they don't want to build parking spaces because it's expensive, and without that, the property value goes down. On the other hand, then 60% people by design, they will not have access to parking spaces and cars. However, they are traveling 4 to 6 times a year to access a car, contributing 300 pounds carbon emission. And that's where we see that one problem for 3 different groups of people. That's where we are building Ride Alike. So, which is AI powered based on trust score, where we connect car owners and car renters together, where they can share cars with the people living in the same proximity. We take care of all the insurance, roadside assistance, and where impact metrics as well. That's what we generate. So, and this is just not an idea. We have launched, and we are making about $32,000 revenue per month. We built some strong partnerships with the city of Markham and some high-rise building companies such as Oxford Properties or Forest Hill Kipling. And now we are awaiting final decision to do partnerships with city of Toronto. And we know it's a large market, proven market. However, bottom up, it's a 14% urban residents. It's a $280 million slice in the North America alone. And car sharing usage will be double up in next 3 years. So how are we reaching to these people? We are partnering up with the high-rise buildings, and they're opening up their doors to their residents. We're also partnering up with the York University and City of Markham and City of Toronto. And the whole idea is that we are growing through community where some people with cars, a lot more people without cars, that's who we are bringing together. And after Ontario, we are preparing to launch in British Columbia and Alberta. So how are we making money? So we charge 25% to the car owners and 20% to the car renters. So more cars we get, more renters join us, and more renters bring revenue for all of us. So our plan is to get 50 buildings, and within next 1 year, it will generate $1.9 million revenue for us. And the objective is to get to $59 million revenue with 630 buildings. So for our competition, we're a peer-to-peer car share company compared to the fleet-owned models, and Turo is our other US competitor. They're doing well. However, with our unique car swap feature, fintech car ownership model, and the AI insights that we have in our model, we stand significantly different compared to them. So for our leadership team, it's myself and some advisors. With them, we have about a lot of experience in the AI, data science, and in the car sharing space. And we're in active conversations for some management team members with us. So what we're doing, we are raising $1 million. From that, we have received 400,000 and now looking for a lead investor to join our round. And the whole idea is?
Time's up.
Okay. Thank you. We invite you to ride with us.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I just have a question about can you explain what fintech ownership means and tell me a little bit more about how you're acquiring your customers?
Yeah, absolutely, thank you. So the fintech car ownership, you can think about like as a co-car ownership model. So you have a car, you own the car, you are responsible for making the payments, and you have a parking space. However, we would like to connect you with, let's say, a nurse who goes to hospital at 8 p.m. and comes back at 8 a.m. in the morning. So your car getting used when it's not sitting idle. So it's compensating for your car ownership. And the other person doesn't need to own a car. So we are bringing some like-minded people. They can access the cars together. So that was your first question, I believe.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. And the second question was around customer acquisition. So how are you acquiring the car owners as well as the car renters?
Yeah, so thank you. So for the customer acquisition, that's where we are building partnerships with these high-rise buildings. So they open up their doors to their residents. They allow us to put brochures, flyers, posters in their building. They send email to their residents, and that's where our cost of acquisition goes down. And it also builds a trust aspect. And we are doing the similar type of partnership, which we are calling as a demand zone, not only in the buildings, but also in the like a college and universities, which is commute driven. So that's where we are. So the institution is promoting us as a partner for us. Good question. So some institutions, they care about the revenue sharing program. So with them, we share 5%. But a lot of institutions, such as college, universities, they want like the money to be generated for their students for their betterment. So they don't take any revenue share platform. So it really depends. But typically, the private corporations, we share 5% with them.
Thank you for the presentation. I had a question about the AI component. So how are you using AI in the product, and how is that giving you a competitive edge?
Yeah, absolutely. Very good question. So for AI aspects, it's as simple as AI agents, like a chatbot doing some manual work, that one aspect. We're building dynamic pricing to recommendation engines. So that's what we are learning about people. They say, okay, what do they do? One is their uptime, downtime, and what are the other people, what are the other items that they would like to share? So we're building those recommendation engines. So that's one. The other aspect is we're building a trust score where we learn about people's behavior, not only the onset data, like in terms of their driving behavior and their past records, but also based on their reviews from the host guest and their driving behavior through telematics. So then we're bringing them together, and we're we maintain a trust score as a real time. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Quick question about, you mentioned, so you're taking care of the insurance of all of their paperwork around, ride sharing. Cleanliness, I'm assuming as well. Can you also, do you embed GPS where you can say, okay, the car is here, and what if, the customer fails to bring back the car? What mitigation strategies do you have with that?
Great questions. These are obviously one of the biggest pain points that we have, which is the operations. So we are bringing a lot of AI components to do that. So number one is when you take pictures, as a car owner, you are giving it to someone. So what we do is we take your pictures, fuel levels, mileage, and so on. And when a car renter brings it back, so we see that, okay, what kind of differences are there, is there any damages and so on, and then estimation. That's one aspect. For the location detection, the high theft models, the cars that are prone to stealings and so on, for those ones we install like a speedy glass tag so that those get initiated if the car is reported as stolen. And plus our Pulse app takes the locations real time and the driving behavior as well. Yes, we are. That's what we have to do because for insurance company, that's a big items. So that's where we are putting a lot of risk mitigation approach as well, like in terms of the car owners that we're bringing, car renters, and the cars, if they're fleet owners, and what are their real-time behaviors and the reviews. So these are all part of our loss run and risk ratios. Yeah, so if we have all the data, that's what we're so in our current process, it takes 30 minutes for a human eyes in a manual way to review, pull the records, ministries, and soft checks, and the driving record. In our AI model, it will be like less than 2 minutes to make sure all the OCRs and the customer inputs, they cross-checks all the data, they cross-checks our database, and then it gets approved, so it'll be 2 minutes through our AI process.
That's all.
Thank you so much, everyone.
And next one is drone shape. Claps. Why do you want?
So when I do this, that means it's 20 seconds off.
Oh, okay, sure. Right, I'm Igor Chigrin, co-founder of the drone ship. Look at all these containers stuck in Dubai port. What a waste of land for prime real estate development, and what a waste of money for cargo owner. But let me ask you, why do you think these containers aren't moving? And they are not moving because, despite of all the progress of the past 5,000 years, we have not figured out how to ship the goods directly from origin to destination via straight line. Cargo changes hands multiple times. We use limited number of trade routes, and no surprise, we have delays, disruptions, and cost overruns. On top of that, cargo transportation is responsible for 11% of global emissions. Albert Einstein once said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So why are we expecting different result if we ship the goods exactly how our ancestors did? Are we insane? Of course we're not. We're stuck in a paradigm. Shifting that paradigm will solve global logistics problems. I'm introducing the drone ship, the only solution that can shift the paradigm by finally shipping goods directly from origin to destination via straight line. It is a fully autonomous, zero-emission cargo drone that does not depend on humans, infrastructure, and fossil fuel to operate. It navigates to avoid areas of bad weather and political events, and ultimately it will carry fully loaded shipping containers across oceans and continents. Currently, if you ship goods globally, you have only two options. You can do it by ocean, cheap and slow, or by air, fast and expensive, and nothing in between. The drone ship addresses the gap between two extremes. It takes a team to shift the paradigm, and we believe we have the right one. I've been in international business for over 15 years and raised government funding. My co-founder, Winta, is a talented aerospace engineer with experience building autonomous aircraft. The project is based by a team of 4 engineers who were directly involved in the aircraft design. The time is right for the drone ship. Accelerated development of technologies behind it finally allow shipping goods directly from origin to destination via straight line. We will elaborate on those technologies by offering heavier payload and longer distance. Also, the recent geopolitical events and global corporations' commitments to net zero targets boost the demand for a solution like this. As of today, we completed the digital scaled prototype of our aircraft, raised 100,000 from the government, and created a clear pathway for certification. Our go-to-market plan is based on targeting 140 corporations committed to decarbonizing global logistics through key industry events and associations. As drone ships become available, we'll charge our clients a predictable fee for the use of cargo drone over time. We are raising 500,000 to advance our technology development.
Please join us in fixing global logistics. Thank you. Just in time for questions.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Can you elaborate a little bit on where you are in terms of development right now? Is this live? Is this still in research?
Yeah, so we completed the research and completed the design of the digital design of the prototype, basically in CAD models. We have also ran the prototype in a computer simulation. So far, it looks promising, and our next step is building the physical prototype.
Thank you for
Pleasure.
the presentation. Love it. And you were on time, so we didn't get interrupted.
Extra
Hamad.
score?
So I have a lot of questions. The first one is, so right now you're building the prototype, but you haven't gotten authorizations or maybe granted authorizations for airspace use.
Of course.
Okay, so will you just provide those logistic services just in Canada, for instance, and maybe just regionally? Or do you plan to actually provide it more internationally, and how will that look? First question. Second one is, I saw, and because there are other companies that I know do something like that, but how big will be, the packages? Like, do you plan for, more volume? And again, that will also predict your customers or maybe the customer personas that you work with.
So I'll probably start with the second question. There will be a range of, sizes of the drones, up to a maximum size of the drone that can handle a 40-foot container. That one will be huge, like imagine like 6 times as big as container. But of course, we'll have all the drones for, let's say, 1 skid or 2 skids or 3 skids or maybe 20-foot container. So we'll gradually increase the volume as we develop. So our first commercial product will be for moving 1 skid. Right? So it's not going to be big. Now, from the compliance perspective, first of all, the compliance framework is developing every single day. In Canada, in the United States, in Europe. So we looked into the regulations that we have right now, and believe it or not, there are already some regulations because basically the drone ship is like a giant balloon with the rotors attached to it. So there are already regulations for airships that go to stratosphere, etc. The only thing is that most of them are piloted, so there's a little bit of a sketchy area how you do it without a pilot. Still, the foundation for the regulations are there, and it's not going to be like a huge leap from the regulations that are currently available. Besides that, and sorry if it's a long answer, but there is a lot of push from the industry, from folks like Archer, like those air taxi startups that are pretty well, sophisticated, funded, and connected. To ease those regulations and allow autonomous flight. Especially in our case, it's an advantage because we don't deal with humans, we deal with cargo, so it's going to be a little lower threshold for us. Of course.
But anyways, you mentioned that you would so you will transport a container.
A container, yeah.
Right, in a pilotless drone.
Yes, correct.
There's a lot of risk.
No, of course, of
right?
course there is, of course.
So
yes.
I guess that, even though we're waiting for regulations to change, you'll need to show that there's zero risk.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
This is on our agenda. Okay. But that's the next step in our development though, but that's 100% valid.
Thanks. From where you stand today in terms of looking to raise, to build the MVP out, from the MVP to a fully commercial product, have you costed out, the total money required to actually build at scale?
We've looked into other projects, and quite honestly, the estimate is between 2 and 20 million. I cannot unfortunately tell you right now the precise number, but it will be somewhat in this range. Thank you so much. Oh, more questions. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, we are working on the question was about the pricing model. So we are working on the details of the pricing model. Right now, we don't have a specific price tag, but a few things that you should know about is that when you currently transport anything, whether it's truck or train or airplane or cargo ship, you always have two key costs in it: the human costs and the cost of ports and infrastructure charges. So if you have a drone, you don't have those charges. You can deliver something from origin to destination. You have no human charges, you have no human costs, and you have no infrastructure costs. So this makes me reasonably believe that we will be cheaper than traditional ways of cargo transportation. But to that point, we don't have enough data yet to guarantee that statement. Thank you.
Awesome. So may I request judges to take the big back table, this one, and do your final thingy. Yeah, and in this maybe about 5 minutes. So during that time, of course, I have to keep you all awake. So the thing is that, okay, those who have been with us since morning, I just wanted to pick your brains as to how was the sessions? Did you enjoy it? Anything that you want to comment about this, and that would really help us build the next AGAZ Summit on the same day in 2026. So, randomly, whoever wants to go first. Anything that you, yeah, sure.
So this is my first time attending, of course, and I really have to say, you guys have delivered to the point and beyond. So thanks to you. What's the founder name? Tahmina, and the beautiful team you've got with you. I've really enjoyed it. It's a little bit lengthy and tiring, yawning all the time, but everything ticks the boxes from you guys, speakers, the food, not to forget that as well. So yeah, well done. Just, sorry? Do I need to drop the mic as well? And the gorgeous MC, of course. So thank you very much.
Sure, yeah. Well, I have to say that this was my first event as well, too. And just seeing one thing that I really like about the Canadian startup scene, and particularly in Toronto, has been discussed, is the diversity that we have. So many different people. And I'm not just talking about diversity in terms of background, but in diversity of thought. Because that's where the real power is. When people can communicate more effectively, the innovation is exponential. And I think that that's something we really need to stress. It's not a choice between diversity or excellence. Diversity can drive excellence when people are communicating. And just being here, kind of affirmed that from seeing the pitches and everything, and also the opportunity to connect with people, because I actually connected with someone who was representing a company connecting Japanese and Canadian entrepreneurs together. And I lived and worked in Japan for several years. So how crazy is that? Just hearing that. So that was amazing. And that's all I have to say about that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody from this side, you want to share something?
Hi, everyone. It's also my first, actually my first summit in Canada as a newcomer, and to be here has really been empowering. It's just like the name goes, a new beginning, and it's also the meaning of my middle name. It's a new beginning for me because as a founder, every day sometimes feel like you are building a flight inside a flight, and it's like you're gonna crash. So coming here today just gives me a lot of tools to go back and work on, and the connection of some people that I've met, and it's just been amazing putting this program together. When I saw the schedule, when Naz sent me the schedule last night, I was like, oh my God, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., how am I going to sit through it? I don't feel tired. I'm so hyped that I don't feel tired. So this is beautiful, it's insightful, and thank you to the team.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, my first time here at CSA as well. Thank you for the opportunity. Today was actually the first time I pitched BidBo, so thanks for giving me that platform. It's very, I'm sure a lot of founders can relate. We're in our bubble for a long time building what we're building. And it was a miracle that I'm here today because my brother's right here. He knows how hard it is to have a day to be able to get out and be here. It was absolutely worthwhile. The sessions were very inspiring, informative, made a few connections, already gained a lot just by talking to someone outside for a few minutes, and really appreciate the chance in organizing this. Just a question, are you going to share the material after by email or anything, or no? The grant stuff is very useful. If it's shareable, that would be great. Yeah.
Put it on Google document and we'll probably be able to share it with you. Thank you.
Okay, so I have been to a lot of summits, but honestly, this was worth it. Because every topic that was picked up very wisely, very useful for startups, and I think very, very insightful for all of us, and I would love to come again. So thank you to Hamad, to Temina, and the whole team.
Thank you very much. So mark your calendars. Yes. Okay. Same day, 2026. Easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to say that. Yeah. Listen, again, first time here, just as most of you. Ahmad, Tamina, doing a fantastic job. I think it's a great platform for startups, as you mentioned. I'm a startup myself too. And I had a great time, very informative, very well done, and looking forward to the next session. So thank you for inviting us here. Thank you.
Awesome. We've already spoken to you. You want to say something? Oh, you said it. Just this side, spoken to you. You want to say something?
My name is Jay Logan from Maple Green Digital Technologies Limited. I must say this is very impressive. I've attended several of the summits in the past several years across different continents. I met Tahima a couple of years ago, and she really incited me to encourage people like me to come into this ecosystem. So I'm in the climate tech ecosystem, and we have developed several new products we want to introduce here. We have to reach the TRL level 9, and we want the Canadian economy to grow with all the different job opportunities. So we're working hard to bring the technology here. All we need is the funding. So looking for different opportunities to go forward. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. So I think our judges are almost done with their scorings, and let's see who is going to win. Our hearts are pumping fast, right? Yeah, so it's going to be very exciting. Last year, there were 7 startups that went to Dubai with us on private funding. They all funded their own trip. We only organized it. This year, we are taking 24. So just think about it. All privately funded, 0 government money. So what does it mean? When you provide an opportunity, a lot of people don't even know about the opportunity. For instance, working with the government, how many of us actually knew that you only need $25,000 to work with the government? The minimum contract is $25,000. So I think we have a winner. All right. Yes, judges, Put your claps for the judges as well because they really worked hard. Big responsibility. So when you're a startup, you are the chief executive officer, chief accountant, chief janitor of your company as well, and you organize things as well. So, be brave.
I would like Miriam to announce, please.
Oh, okay.
I'm just facilitator.
All right, so I announce the winner. Okay. So without further ado, the winner is Ride Alike. It was an amazing pitch. Thank you so much. You really provided us with a lot of information, and we think that you're going to have a lot of success in your endeavors and markets. Thank you so much.
So just to confirm who doesn't know, that Zilani will be going to Dubai in Expen North Star. And he will have a startup booth there, and he will be able to pitch at the world stage, and for a for a total prize money of I think 100,000 USD. Yes. Good job. Thank you. Girls, you want to, if anybody wants, everyone come on stage and let's have a photo. We never do that. Please stay here. Please. Faizan. Sudha, please come. We never do that. We want everyone to come on stage and have a group photo. Everyone, please come. Yeah, please come join us. Have a picture. Yeah, Zelani, come. Stay in the front because you have the. Everyone. Yes. You were with us all day, so we want you in the picture. Girls, come. Our volunteers, please come, everyone. Deon, Nida, everyone, please join us.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun.
Okay, let's hope the stage can support.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Girls, sit down.
Because the guilty ones already know.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yay. See you next year.
Yes.
Thank you everyone. Thank you, everyone.